Welcome to the Scale Planning Grant Bidders Technical Webinar. This is being recorded in May of 2022. In this video, I will share some background on the Scale Grant Initiative, then review the components and requirements of the RFR. This grant initiative is funded through the appropriations in the fiscal year 2021 and 2022 state budget, line item 7002-1075, and funds appropriated through the Federal American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, of 2021. You will be notified which funds are allocated to your grant upon contracting. If you have any questions, please follow the process for submitting via the website. All questions and answers will be posted at www.comcorps.org as soon as we have answers to them. You can download the RFR at www.comcorps.org/funding. Please note that this is a summary of the RFR, and in all instances, you should reference directly the RFR for more comprehensive information. Once again, questions can be submitted to the link in this presentation. This is also where we encourage you to go to sign up to receive notifications about answered questions and any other updated information. This funding opportunity is being made available to support the ongoing economic recovery and growth objectives of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. These strategic investments are part of the ongoing effort by the Massachusetts Workforce Skills Cabinet, WSC, to align public and private resources across the system and scale effective education to employment pathways that better position residents who want to be hired into jobs that businesses need filled. The goal of the planning period is to produce an application for an ARPA-funded workforce program. The applicant should plan to scale existing training programs by adding seat capacity to existing programs, achieving economics of scale and operation, and support strengthening employer engagement and student support to achieve scale. This funding is intended to help a broad range of employers, industry associations, training providers, workforce consortiums, and educational institutions in order to de-risk the time and effort required by businesses and stakeholder partners to determine and apply for funding, allow groups to operationalize partnerships prior to applying for larger grants to solve bigger problems, offer a direct opportunity to engage the business community to solve their training, education, and talent needs at a high volume, and to provide partnerships, flexible funding to incorporate best practices. $3 million are available through this solicitation. Applicants may request between $10,000 and $30,000 dependent on the applicant's planned activities. Grants requesting funds over $20,000 must demonstrate inclusion of a consortium or significant scaling over the next 3 years. Awardees will be required to provide a 30% match of total awarded funds, and match contributions may be cash or in kind. Planning grant contracts will be issued on a monthly rolling basis for a period of 1 to 3 months in length, depending on the applicant's planned activities. Start date will be dependent on grant submission and approval dates. We anticipate fully allocating scale planning grant resources by 6/30/23, but reserve the right to extend availability of funding into 2023. Eligible lead applicants are employers with operations in Massachusetts and that employ Massachusetts residents in the proposed target occupations, such as community-based organizations, adult basic education providers, employer associations, higher educational institutions, labor organizations, local workforce development entities, local workforce boards, nonprofit education, training, or other service providers, one-stop career centers, or vocational education institutions. The lead applicant must commit to working collaboratively with partners and Commonwealth Corporation. They must commit to convene partners to achieve overall scale grant goals and ensure activities outlined in the application are conducted. They must have an operational and fiscal capacity to manage public funds and intend to apply for implementation grant funding through an ARPA-funded grant program, such as WCTF, CTI, Renew, or others, within 3 to 6 months of receiving scale grant funds. Letters of interest are required from at least one employer with a skilled hiring need, if the lead applicant is not an employer, and one training provider if the lead applicant is not a training provider. High-level potential activities include identifying training providers, developing and deepening employer commitment to hiring training program graduates, messaging employer hiring in front-end recruiting pitches to attract participants, incorporating creative programmatic elements to attract applicants, such as work and learn and hybrid models, and connecting with other providers to leverage learnings, curriculum, and best practices in order to scale trainings. A more extensive list of some recommended activities is included in Appendix 1 of the RFR and might include conducting focus groups or interviews with employers to align on curriculum and timeline, incorporating employers into a training schedule, formalizing employer commitment to hire through letters or MOUs, integrating solutions to barriers in program design, connecting with mass hire workforce boards, market makers, or mass hire career centers, holding focus groups or conversations with training providers to discuss best practices, or identifying curriculum to share across providers and regions. Applicants will be required to complete a short monthly survey to assess whether the grantee is on track to apply for implementation funds and whether they need any technical assistance or support. Applicants will be required to submit a final report at the end of the contract period that will document what was achieved through the investment of these funds, inform future funding practices, and provide information that could be used more generally among organizations doing similar work. The final report will be waived if an application to an ARPA-funded workforce program such as WCTF, CTI, Renew, or many of the others is submitted, or there is a clear letter of intent from the grantee that is an application that will be submitted within the next 3 to 6 months. Funds will be dispersed on a cost reimbursement basis. Grantees will be required to submit invoices on a monthly basis to receive that cost reimbursement. Each applicant awarded funding will be assigned a Commonwealth Corporation program manager and must assign a main point of contact at their organization who is accountable for the grant. Funds may be used for costs associated with activities described in Section 3 of the RFR. Please note that separate funds are available through other solicitations for the delivery of planned education and training activities. Applicants may not include the cost of equipment in their budget. They are encouraged to utilize workforce skills, capital grants, or other state capital resources for any equipment needs related to the scaling up of existing or development of new training programs. Funds may be used for costs associated with activities described in Section 3 of the RFR. Please note that separate funds are available through other solicitations for the delivery of planned education and training activities. Applicants may not include the cost of equipment in their budget, but are encouraged to utilize workforce skills, capital grants, or other state capital resources for any equipment needs related to the scaling up of existing or development of new training programs. Applications may be submitted at any time while the application is posted. Applications will be reviewed on a monthly basis starting on the 15th of each month. All applications submitted prior to the 15th of the month will be reviewed in that monthly cycle. In most cases, an applicant will be notified of the outcome of their application within 30 days. Questions about this grant program will be accepted in writing. Please submit questions via the following link: comcore.tforms.net/328929. In order to complete the grant application package, you will need to complete an online form that provides the specific information outlined in the RFR, and I encourage you to refer to pages 8 through 10, Section 5 of the RFR before beginning the application process. Parts 1 through 4 of the grant application package are included in the MS Excel grant application file. Parts 5 and 6 will need to be attached as PDFs. The review process is outlined in greater detail on page 10, section 6 of the RFR. Applications will be evaluated as meeting or not meeting the following criteria: a track record of success and qualifications and capacity of applicants, proven demand for the target population, measurable scale of anticipated partnership and activities planned, work plan clearly demonstrating how activities will be implemented, budget accuracy and consistency with proposed work plan, and strong letters of interest. This concludes the Scale Planning Grant Bidders Technical Webinar. On behalf of the Commonwealth Corporation, we look forward to hearing from you and seeing your application soon.